Thank you. Thank you. I'm very proud of that book.
Yeah. Well, and as you were saying, there's potential for more, so that's good. For potentially someday.
I have a good solid idea for what the next book would be. It's just a matter of scheduling it with the other projects I want to do.
Yeah.
So, okay, obviously the Magic 2.0 stuff is probably your highest read stuff.
Yep.
What like would be next to that?
It would be all of the Magic books.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, probably Run Program.
Okay.
Then the Authorities, then Master of Formalities.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Authorities was next to the Magic books was my favorite. I loved the Authorities, and I mean I liked Run Program as well. I guess you could do something else with that. I don't know where you would necessarily go with that one, but that one seemed to me like a good like one-off book. Like that was it was a good self-contained story. If you do something else, great. If not, I'm happy with what we got. So
it's theoretically possible to do something else, but I sort of left it in a place where it can stay there.
Yeah.
If I never, get inspired to do another one.
Let me see.
Makes sense. Yeah, there we go. That's hey, look at that. Thank you.
I've got, you can't see it because it's off camera, but I've got an assemblage of just like desktop lamps and a lamp from beside the bed. Because if not, it would just be pitch dark in here. We keep it like the Bridge of the Red October in this office. So.
Our previous show that we did before we kind of shut things down, I had this kludge of all these different programs and stuff that I was running to do the show. And I had an older, it was the Pearls, the white IMAX, and the camera in it was very finicky. And if the light hit just right, it would turn me orange. It would turn me like different colors. Chris remembers those times. So
she doesn't remember those times.
Like one Man Asylum times?
Yes, One Man Asylum times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did one show in front of my curtains, but I remember one of you asking if I was in my bathroom because it looked like a shower curtain.
Yeah.
Which I should probably ask, can you see me right now? Because when I came back from my crash, I lost a little screen that shows me what I look like. So for all I know, I'm not broadcasting.
Oh yeah,
you're good.
Okay, cool.
She's waiting for her computer to boot up, as she said.
No.
Leaving the expletives out, but yes, she's waiting for her computer to boot up.
This isn't a kid-friendly show, so it's...
Yes. Oh, by the way, in case I didn't mention that, Scott, we do work blue, so just let it fly if you need to.
Yep. Excellent. Good to know.
Yeah. There may be our kids in the background, but that's okay.
They're fine.
It's nothing they haven't heard before.
No, they have a foul-mouthed mother, so it's fine.
Which, speaking of the Authorities, so you understand the part I was mentioning about that might be a little iffy before.
Yeah. Logan, she would be kind of a little grossed out by it, but understanding it.
The crime scene we're talking about?
Yes, the crime scene.
Yeah.
Very creative.
And the weapon, yeah, I did not make that weapon up, by the way.
No,
that is a thing that exists.
That's what makes it even better. Yeah, and Chris doesn't know yet because she hasn't been listening to it yet. So it's.
I'm reading Armada right now. I'm almost done.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Armada?
Hi, Jen.
I love Armada. I actually like it. I'm liking it better than Ready Player One.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't see me or hear me or anything?
I can hear you.
Hear you.
I'm not seeing you.
I forget I have to actually manually turn on video on this stupid thing. So I'm doing that.
Sound is great.
Yes, you sound marvelous.
Thanks.
And you look like a
boost.
Hey, there she is.
Hi.
Hi. Oh.
Howdy.
All right.
Now you look, but we can't see it.
Here we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
I'm like trying to find it.
Okay,
I'm here. Sorry.
Hey. All right. Now start streaming and go. Okay, let's see here. All right, so.
And we are streaming.
And we're streaming again.
Maybe.
Okay, we should be good. Maybe. Like I said, we have a local recording. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Okay, with that said, I sent you an email, Scott. So like I said, at the beginning of the show, we have an opening question, and it's just this week's is, what two foods do you mix together that other people might think are weird, since we're doing mashup. We'll kind of go around, do that real quick, and then we get in the actual show. I guess we'll go ahead and just real quick. We'll go ahead and decide this. So I do have the dice. We are rolling them randomly on the show. So that being said, why are you doing that? Okay.
I don't know.
We'll roll them live. Do we want to just let the dice end up how they are, or as we go through some of these things, do we want to delete it from the list so that we can make sure we get them all?
I'd say delete.
Yeah, because we might get some repeats just on chance.
Yeah. Sure.
Yes, and if the dice are anything like they were last night while we were playing Settlers of Catan, it'll just keep rolling 7 over and over and over again. So, and considering I'm only rolling one die at a time, and it's only a 6, sided die, that would be hard, but it would still do it because reasons. All right. So that being said, I'm going to mute the mic and start the show. Put the dice down.
You gonna go over how it all works,
Oh well, okay.
Rules during the show or now?
Yeah, I'll go over the.
But I would ask, because I've never done this before, if I could not go first.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
No, that means
you
ask.
Same.
No, you go first.
You go first.
No, absolutely not. I go,
He's like, click, and I disconnect. So,
Look out! Get a little fuzzy.
Where'd Scott go?
all right, I'm gonna hit the mic, and we'll get.
A place for all things geeky.
Welcome out to the Epically Geeky Show, episode number 104. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight's opening question is, what two foods do you mix together that other people think are kind of weird? Chris. I've been picking Ray first a lot, so I'm trying to be nice.
That's true.
I have noticed.
Well,
I don't think it's weird, but Ray seems to think my love of ketchup is pretty disgusting. Like the amount that I put on just plain chicken.
Okay, who grills a perfectly good piece of chicken and then smothers it in ketchup?
This girl. So that, he thinks it's gross. And then I've been making these teas, drinks sort of lately. So I have one with matcha.
It tastes like grass.
He thinks it tastes like grass. And then I have one with like turmeric and ginger and stuff. And he also thinks that's gross. But I think it's good.
That's why it's weird.
As long as you like it, that's all that matters. Ray, what two things do you mix together that other people think are weird?
Okay, so once again, I love this, and I think it's good. It's the only way that I like to eat salad now, because...
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, so going back to when we were doing CrossFit and stuff like that, we ate a lot of salad, and I was like, okay, how can I spice this up? Like, literally. So... oil and vinegar, right? You take your balsamic vinegar and you take your olive oil and you mix it together. A little hot sauce.
No.
And it works.
Okay.
No. It actually works out pretty good. And then you throw some almonds in with your lettuce and maybe a little
with you, Chris.
Grilled chicken, and you're good to go.
With ketchup. No, that sounds good.
I'm gonna jump on this chicken and ketchup train. I like fried chicken with ketchup. I don't know what it is. It tastes good. I like it. Like I said, it's weird, but whatever.
Fried chicken specifically, wouldn't it decrispify the crust that you go for? That's like the whole point of fried chicken.
Mainly, like, the inside of the chicken. Like, you've taken a couple bites of the chicken, like pull off a little chicken, just kind of dip it in the ketchup. And I know it's kind of weird, but
It's like you've
Crystal
invented a
gummies.
handheld chicken tomato soup. Basically.
Stirring it around.
That's one way to look at it. Speaking of that voice, our special guest for this week is author Scott Meyer has decided to grace us with his presence
Cheers.
again.
Hello.
Scott, what two things do you mix together that some people think is weird?
I have two answers to that. The first one, which is the true answer, but will sound a bit like a cop-out. Not only do I not combine two things that people think are weird, I furiously attempt to keep any of my food from mixing with each other.
Oh, so you're one of those.
I'm one of those people who I have to keep all the food in separate little islands. Really, I should be eating off of an elementary school lunch tray. but,
Dividers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I find that undignified. But I think it stems from when I was a child because my father and my older brother were both inveterate food mixers. And it was just disgusting. Really, there was no fluid on earth that my father would not sop up with bread.
So
Really.
casseroles are out of the question for you.
Casserole is
pie.
its own thing. It is the casserole. So but if I try to mix it, if meat juice seeps into the casserole, instantly disgusting for me. Automatically disgusting. I actually, when my wife and I go out to have steak, if some meat juice gets onto a French fry, I will eat that French fry first, not because I want it more, but because I want to get rid of it. I want it out of my sight. That said, when I was a kid, my brothers and I, one of our favorite snacks, and you might find this odd, was a slice of Wonder Bread with a ridiculously thick layer of butter on it. And then we would pour so much sugar on the butter that you could literally hold up the piece of bread and tip it over, and the sugar that hadn't stuck would fall off. And
my mother used to do that as a child. I've heard of this before.
Yep. That was our snack, and then we would just run around bouncing off the walls.
I bet.
I have to chop some wood tomorrow. Maybe I'll try that out tomorrow.
You'll
It's the
chop
most
a tremendous
Canadian
amount
thing
of wood.
you've ever said.
That's true. She's right.
So Canadian of you. I gotta go chop some wood.
Yeah.
His eyes are just, I gotta go chop wood. I gotta chop
I gotta
wood.
go chop a maple tree.
Yeah.
Chop wood, then gonna go loon hunting.
Yeah. There's some geese out there.
I'll get the geese before I get the
Geese are-
loons.
The geese are mine.
Yeah.
Do you have a donut?
Yeah. He's got his Timmy. So
I have my Timmy's for.
the Timmy.
So I have to ask before we move on to Jennifer's answer. So is Thanksgiving just a minefield for you, Scott? Because usually there's lots of different things with lots of different juices and everything. It's
Any meal where someone else dishes up the food onto my plate is a minefield. If it's buffet style where I can control things, I'm fine.
good deal. Good deal. Jennifer, are there? I'll ask that. Are there any two things that you combined that other people think are weird?
So I'm not a super adventurous eater, I guess. You guys probably found that out on the food show we did, but I do like to dip my peanut butter and jelly in milk, which some people think is weird and some people think is normal. Some people do that, but I don't like eating it without dipping it in the milk.
What is that? What'd you do to the milk?
She's
The
offended.
PBJ's gotta be a little juicy. So I guess that's a weird one. Okay. I have one.
Juicy was not the right word there.
No, it
That was a
wasn't.
poor choice.
Totally not the right word.
It was better than moist, okay? That was
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
true. Points awarded for that.
not
Like,
one of those
Like,
words.
do you have to have it soggy?
There's no good word.
I'm
You
saying,
have blown
even if
her mind.
it and like an Oreo. So it's So the
Yeah,
bread
but not PB and J.
I think I'm more worried about the bread.
It's gonna fall apart and into the.
In the
And then you're
milk.
just drinking.
And then you got-
sometimes that happens. You just gotta
No. Oh, jeez.
Anytime your food is dissolving, it's a bad sign.
It's just- it's
That's like somebody pre-chewing it for you, and here you go.
Jen wins this one. Jen wins.
Jen wins for
Jen
sure.
Okay,
On-
fine, hot
and won
sauce
the
and
intro.
salad.
She's found a way to baby bird herself.
I like that. I take that as a compliment.
There you
As
go.
well you should.
Yes. The
Well,
reason,
that's one in a book somewhere.
yeah.
Right.
The reason for the opening question is we're bringing back a topic we've done a couple of times before. We're doing mashup, and this time we're taking. We are still kind of in Halloween mode, so that's why some of the picks are here. But so essentially, what we're going to do is I've got 3 die, and I'm going to roll them one at a time. The first die is going to represent a 90s NBC show. You're going to take the cast from a 90s NBC show. The second die is going to tell us where they are at, to include the Enterprise D, Hobbiton. Well, actually, let me go through the options. So on the first die, number 1 is ER. Number 2 is Seinfeld. Number 3 is Saved by the Bell. Number 4 is Friends. Number 5 is Law and Order. And number 6 is Matlock, because Matlock. The second die is going to represent the place they're at, and that is the Enterprise D, Hobbiton, Hogwarts, the Death Star, Westeros, and Arrakis. We threw that one on there for E. Scott.
I appreciate that.
And then the third die is going to be what it is they are fighting, and they're going to be fighting vampires, zombies, werewolves, aliens, robots, or a totally played out giant spiders. So, that being said, would any and what we're going to do is I'll roll the 3 die. I will give you your 3 options, and we're going to give you 60 seconds to come up with the base idea. You don't have to have it, of course, completely thought out, and then we can all jump in and kind of help, flesh it out and see what kind of gold we can get out of this. So,
and if we're not familiar with the fandom, then we just
we'll need help.
Fake it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because there's a lot. I'm like,
There's at least one of those shows that I'm going to be naming actors instead of characters. I can tell you that.
I'm gonna be Googling some of this.
So with that said, would anyone like to go first?
All
right, I'll go first.
No,
I'll go.
Go first. Go, Eugene.
All right. So my first die. Oh, by the way, I have to say I am not rolling these by hand because I don't want there to be any prejudice. So I will be using the Castle Grayskull dice tower.
Yay!
So, yay, Castle Grayskull. Okay, so let's see. First die is a 4, so I'll be doing Friends, and of course I don't know Friends that well. Let's see. I mean, I've watched it a little bit. The second die is a 2, so they will be in Hobbiton. Okay, that's going to be interesting. And they were going to be fighting werewolves. Jesus. The cast of Friends in Hobbiton fighting werewolves. I should have pulled my timer up here. Let me do that real quick. And during that 60 seconds, y'all can talk about literally whatever. So with that said, go.
All right. Scott, since you're the guest on the show, just curious, speaking of all these sitcoms, is there one that you actually enjoy watching? Is there one that you're into right now?
Friends, actually. It started weak. It got really super strong. There are actually a couple of episodes. I don't know the seasons well enough to tell you, but there are a couple episodes where there is a stretch where literally every line is a punchline. And the 2 episodes I'm specifically thinking about are there's a Thanksgiving episode where Rachel tries to make an English trifle and accidentally puts beef into it.
Love that
exactly.
one.
And there's this whole long stretch where people just every line someone says gets a laugh, ending with Phoebe saying, "I'm in love with Jacques Cousteau."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the same season that has when Ross creates a game show for them that is equally joke dense.
Yes. Yeah,
and when Chandler and Monica, when their relationship gets found out by Phoebe and Rachel. I couldn't remember Rachel's name, but those are some of the most joke dense sitcoms I've ever seen in my life.
Those are some good episodes.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed it too at the time. So
yeah.
All right. So here's what I've got. All right. So this is going to be a one-off episode. By the way, you can make this into whatever you want. This can be a book. This can be a comic. This can be a TV show, movie, whatever. This is going to be a one-off episode. So our cast of friends, for whatever reason, decide to go visit Hobbiton. And essentially they're at during the filming, they get to go on set or whatever and look around because they built most of Hobbiton, where they were actually filming it. So
it's not actually they're visiting Bilbo Baggins; it's they're visiting the film set.
I'm having them set at the film set. And it's late at night, and Joey gets locked in one of the buildings. They're trying to figure out how to get him, out there. When they finally get him out, it's dark. They're trying to figure out where everybody went, how they all kind of got locked there or whatever. And they see like this guy, they do find this one guy. They're like, oh, hey, dude, it's, we got to get out of here, whatever. And dude turns into a werewolf, and they all have to like lock themselves into one of the buildings. And the whole episode is going to be them basically trying to make sure that they, can survive inside this whole Hobbiton house or whatever. And the comedy part will come from the idea of, well, what if someone else is a vampire here? And of course, everyone else is going to be acting a little weird for whatever reason. Depending on when we set it, we could set it like you were talking about in the time period where they were trying to keep the relationship secret. So they're like, what secret are you keeping? Are you really a werewolf? So I think that would be an interesting one-off episode.
The only thing that I would change there is it's not a guy that turns into a werewolf. It'd be a female, and Joey's hitting on her as she's turning into a werewolf.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that better.
In fact, specifically make it Evangeline Lilly because they're filming The Hobbit at the time.
There you go. And they go there because Joey's cast as an extra.
Yes, exactly. And I actually think there's a lot of potential in this just for a lot of jokes about Joey being stuck in a tiny little house.
Yeah.
He tries to get out and he breaks the doorknob off, and he tries to sit down and he breaks a chair. Chandler's yelling at him.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That'd be a fun episode.
That would be Can we make that episode?
Sure. Why not? All these networks are bringing their shows back. Why not? I really don't think it will take another year or so before we'll either see Seinfeld or Friends return, at least for a short period of time. So
we'll see. Yeah.
We'll see.
A lot of money to pay those people.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if they aren't already working on Mad About You, frankly, because
yes,
Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt doing right now. So.
That's true.
That's an excellent point.
I really liked that show the first several seasons, and then the later seasons where it was basically just like they're constantly having problems in their relationship. It was like, wow, this got really real.
Yep. Yep.
So, all right. Well, if no one has anything else they want to add to that, we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. So, Ray.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, sir. If I happen to roll the same number, would you like to go up or down?
Down.
Down. All right. So your first die is a 5. So you will be dealing with Law and Order.
Oh no.
I rolled 2, which means it's going to roll down 1. So the cast of Law and Order will be at Hogwarts, and they will be dealing with of all the things, aliens. Werewolves would have fit, vampires would have fit, zombies would have fit,
aliens
but no.
Are better.
The one thing that is not actually in the J.K. Rowling universe.
Exactly. All right, sir. I'm going to start your timer, and 3, 2, 1, go. So, I don't know. What do we want to ask here? And Jennifer dropped off apparently. I don't know. Maybe she clicked the wrong thing. We'll have to find out.
I came this close to right-clicking something, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to risk. I'm not going to
do it. Not during the show. So yeah, we used to had a really long stretch where everything was working really good. Like Skype was great. OBS was fine. We weren't having problems with drops or whatever. And just the last month or so, all of a sudden it's just been hell. And we're just like, what is going on? So Jennifer, did you click something or?
I dropped out because I'm having audio issues and I couldn't hear or talk, but now I'm back, I think.
You're back. We got you.
We can hear
what
you.
did he get?
He got Law and Order, Hogwarts, aliens. So Which
Y'all are going to get all the ones I actually know, and I'm going to have nothing to do when I get to mine.
I have some things I want, and they're still open, so I'm...
All right. All right, Ray, are you ready?
No.
Okay, well, what do you got for us? Remember, you can give us just the basis, and we can go from there.
He literally has 2 words written down. Literally. That's all he don't have
now. I hope those words are Harry Potter.
If it would all right, so this is what I'm thinking. Okay, which is terrible because I don't know Law and Order, so all I know is the sound at the beginning.
Well, you see, there are 2 branches of the... I don't remember the preamble well enough.
These are the most serious.
Okay.
Michael did a whole monologue for it when he was auditioning for that play.
Yeah, yeah. So some people have been, some muggles are going on missing.
Okay.
In around Hogwarts and stuff like that, and because of the spells that are on there, people can't, obviously the muggles can't get in the Hogwarts area, but there's Dumbledore's actually really concerned about this as well. So he's bringing in these people from the States, because then they're like totally away from the locals. They don't have a clue what's going on, and they're going to be really easy to just memory charm, and away they go. Turns out it's a xenomorph that's going to be running around. And that's the only one I could think of that would actually escape and have some plausible way of getting into Hogwarts. And then other than that, please help me, because dear God, this is getting terrible.
You did really good.
So Law and Order is the other thing?
Law and Order.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I keep thinking is Mariska Hargitay.
Well, Law and Order already has your format figured out, because the first half of the story is them figuring out, what's going on and capturing the xenomorph. Mm-hmm. Then the second half is them putting the xenomorph on trial.
On trial. There you go.
So now I want
to see that.
Rita Skeeter is trying to interview the xenomorph.
Yes, okay.
Getting warrants.
Sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, she'll just turn into a beetle and fly away.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Yeah. She's an animagus.
Yes.
You know a lot more about Harry Potter than I do.
Listen, if I had any other show, I was like, not Law and Order, not Law and Order, not Law and Order.
What you got?
Well, at least we have the xenomorph on trial, and it doesn't speak.
I mean, watching Jerry Orbach chase a xenomorph would be great.
Yes.
Sorry, I talked over you there.
And then all that was for nothing.
I just want to see him doing the cross-examination, yelling at the xenomorph, and it yells, and it opens its mouth, and then the little head comes out and says something. Yeah.
And I like the idea of the xenomorph getting off on a technicality, and at the end,
wasted an hour of my life.
That's her idea. That's
for a damn technicality.
So Jerry Orbach is telling Sam Watterson, well, we do what we can, but sometimes they just get away. I know, but it hurts every time.
It's an hour long.
A lot of these.
The xenomorph is walking out with its little face pops out and smiles.
Yeah,
try again next time, Copper. Yeah.
So who's gonna have the sucker on its face? Who's gonna have the?
Oh.
Somebody.
Malfoy. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what the thing is. So
she just makes people
yelling at me.
Luna, but she manages to talk it off and then keeps it as a pet.
Oh, she totally would.
She would. Yeah.
I love my face hugger.
Yeah.
They're really good.
That was a terrible Luna Lovegood, but yeah.
The Nargles.
The Nargles, yes. It's the Nargles. Nicely done.
Oh my God.
Thanks for the help. Dear God, that was painful.
You did well, sir. Thank you.
Good babe.
Oh my God.
All right, who wants to go next?
I can go next.
All right, Scott. Your first die is... Oh, I guess I should have asked. Do you want to go up or down?
Just give me that look. Let's go up.
Up. So you rolled a 5, so technically it would jump up to Saved by the Bell.
Oh! For Matlock.
You got a 5, so oh Lord, Saved by the Bell in Westeros.
Oh my God.
This already is good.
Arrakis, and I will be so jealous.
Let's see. So you said go up. So zombies, that actually fits very well.
Oh, there you
So
go.
yeah. All right. So your timer starts now.
I know who I'd be picking as a zombie. Anyway. So
Go on.
how's things down there weather-wise? Like I saw it got cool for a little bit and now it's kind of warming up.
It's not too bad right now. Like I went outside and like I said, was doing a bunch of work in the backyard and stuff. It was like really breezy today. So I had to get a lot of that done because it's supposed to rain supposedly. I can't believe you went to the weather though. That's just
You gotta start with something.
I wanted to secretly talk about how we got this really cool author on the show and I didn't want to say anything.
Well, I wanted
Really?
to talk about that too, but
Someone cool?
I know, right?
who's that?
It would be such a kick in the pants if actually, Scott, it's Ernest Klein, so we're gonna hang up on you.
Yeah.
And
Let's turn it over to Ernest. Ernest, how's things today?
Oh Lord. All right. We'll give you a couple more seconds because we were kind of talking and distracted you. So
See, exactly. That's why I went to the weather.
and you know what? That was probably a good choice. So
He was being nice and you
ruined it.
and I ruined it. I ruined it for everyone. I know. I'm sorry.
How's the weather in Canada?
Cold.
Starting to get snowy a little bit.
It was like 5 degrees Celsius
In
today. Yeah, it's been a really cold, unseasonably cold October.
Yeah.
And then it's supposed to be a little bit warmer for November and December, for this month. and
What
then December.
wasn't too bad though for Halloween.
No,
Actually,
Halloween
we were
was
able to walk
really
around,
great.
which is nice.
Oh.
Last year was sleeting. This
year we had a little bit of drizzle. We didn't have a lot of trick-or-treaters because I think a lot of people went to other events
Yeah.
because it was kind of drizzly and stuff. So, but we still managed to make the neighborhood. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah. The kids didn't have to wear it. Well, they should have, but they didn't wear their coats over top of their costume. So.
all right, Mom.
Oh wow.
Hey, listen.
Ruin the costume.
When I was 5 and we lived in Northern Ontario, I'd wear my fucking snowsuit underneath my fairy costume, and I was so pissed. And it snowed.
We're a kid, like
Screw you.
Yeah,
So bad.
picture Maggie, right? And the stars there.
That was me trying to trick or treat down my street.
with a two.
kid from A Christmas Story. Crying with the snow.
And it's true in Northern Ontario. It snows in September and doesn't leave till April.
All right, Scott, what you got for us?
well, what I'm going for, I'm going to use one of the classic cop out structure ideas. Is we're going to be getting the band back together. What it's going to be is they know that the White Walkers are beyond the wall, and now that the I don't want to spoilers. Now that the ice dragon has taken down the wall, they're going to get through. So and I'm gonna probably get a lot of these Saved by the Bell names wrong because I'm just old enough that I was old enough when Saved by the Bell came on for me to totally dismiss it as useless.
You're not far off.
Yeah. So Zach, is Zach the kid with the cell phone?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a Lannister because he would be.
Totally.
He would be.
Okay. And he realizes that, Jon Snow and Khaleesi, I nearly said Cersei, which is a totally different character. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting off track. He gets tasked by Cersei to go and try to create a team to go take on the White Walkers. He has to get everyone together. Mario Lopez has been captured by Ramsay Bolton as being tortured because who wouldn't want to watch that?
Absolutely.
I really just a series of Ramsay Boltons torturing Mario Lopez would be enough for me to watch. Tiffany Amber Thiessen has been working as one of Khaleesi's Dothraki handmaids because I just think the outfit would look good on her. Elizabeth Berkley is working for Littlefinger. That's all I'm saying about that. And I frankly, I don't know what's up with Screech because, really, they just didn't call Dustin Diamond. They're like, we're not going to. Why do we have
Jim episode all
I was just going to say they literally called Jimmy Fallon instead.
Yeah,
Jimmy Fallon shows up and, hey guys.
He's excited for like half a second and then just gets beheaded. It's
Yeah,
just like
just
just all of a sudden.
And
It's just a random thing. Not just a random dude just walks by and just.
So they all. Am I missing any of the characters? I don't think I am any of the major characters.
You got the major ones.
Yeah, you're
Cool.
good.
They all team up. They go beyond the wall because apparently that's the brilliant strategic move. When you know the zombies are beyond the wall, you go beyond the wall with the zombies. They get immediately surrounded, much like Jon Snow did. Only when they call Daenerys Targaryen to come save them, she chooses not to. So
Nice.
there. That's what I got. Anyone have anything to spice that up? Because like I said, my Saved by the Bell lore is very shallow.
The only thing I could think of is that this is the dream that Jessie had after she did all the speed.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. That would be great.
She's
Well
waking up
done.
this
She just
episode.
wakes up from a speed coma, and that's what
You've saved me. Thank you.
Good job, sir. Oh, that episode just got much better. I'd go back and watch that one.
Well, she was saying she's a maniac. Like,
No,
that's very true.
she's so excited.
oh, like so
So
excited.
excited, that's right.
So
Yeah,
excited.
she's so excited.
Oh, that's good.
Alrighty. Down to Jennifer and Chris.
I'll go.
All right, Chris.
Oh,
Your first die is. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to ask up or down.
down.
Uh-oh.
Down. So your first die is Seinfeld. So you have
Okay,
the
that's not
group
too
from Seinfeld, and they are. You said down, right?
Yeah.
On Arrakis,
Oh,
the
crap.
Dune planet.
I don't even know. I've never seen.
Lots of sand.
Lots of sand. Lots of sand.
All right.
And they are fighting robots.
Robot. Shit.
Yep.
So by process of elimination, do I get whatever's left?
Well, there's two
Or-
possible things left on everything, and then we could
okay.
always go. We could always go together and see if we get to the last one. So your time starts now.
Shorthand for Arrakis would be just picture the Middle East in the 70s, only instead of oil, it's an orange spice that makes you see through time.
Yep.
There you go.
That simplified it, I'm sure.
It's like, cool, thanks.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Totally.
Saves you a Google search.
So Scott, did you dress up for Halloween?
No, I didn't. My wife and I were originally from Washington State, which is as close to Canada as you can get and still be an American. And
True.
and we now live in Phoenix. So it's weird to us to have it actually be shorts weather outside on Halloween, because we actually talked about how we were both, big heavy coat on over your costume people when we were kids. And so we set up chairs in our driveway and gave out candy to kids. And one of the first families that comes by, the mom of the family is talking about how great the weather is, and she says, "Because I'm from Washington State, and where we." So we
Same
had this
thing.
total geek out moment. Oh my God, where are you? Yeah, so
Nice.
yeah.
Well, I had to incorporate my warm coat into my costume this year so that I could walk around, and so I was Silent Bob.
Which
And,
you were a
That was a
good
good one.
Silent Bob.
That was great.
But this was a lot thicker than. But yeah, it was fun to walk around and not talk to people. It was.
Yeah, I just adjust my costume according to the weather. So if it's hot, I'm wearing the shorter dresses or whatever. If it's cold, that's when I wear the long stuff or the wigs or the, the shit that I can.
Well, my Jedi robe turned out to be pretty handy for the little bit of drizzle we got. So just put the hood up, good to go. So, but all right, Chris, what you got for us?
Well, she's.
Okay. So
Dear God,
I thought
scared
it was
the shit out of
asleep
me.
for half a second.
I got excited. Never seen Dune. I don't know anything about Dune, but the whole Sahara thing helped. Okay, so Jerry and the whole gang. So Jerry, Elaine, Kramer. What's Jason Alexander's character?
George.
All decide to go on a trip to Aruba, but get detoured to Arrakis. They've lost their luggage. No luggage.
What is the deal with this sand?
Exactly. So,
Oh my God, why are your lips stained purple?
and when they land, they find themselves in the middle of a robot overthrowing the civilization. And that's what I got so far. But side note, Kramer turns out to be a robot.
Nice.
Dun, dun,
Of course.
dun. Well,
So that's all I had.
so all his weird little glitches were actually like glitches, like
Glitches, because he wasn't in the right.
twitching.
He never learned how to open a door properly.
Yeah.
It was a poorly designed robot the whole time.
He was
He
a
is
prototype.
Prototype, exactly. Yeah. A Mach 1 Kramer.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. The second version was Newman,
Oh, jeez, yes.
Oh, no.
the new improved model.
So, can you expand on this with your knowledge of Dune? Some
Yes, please. What does Arrakis look like?
characters or things people would do?
Yeah. What are the people like?
Wow.
I don't know. I've never. Not to
Spice.
put you on the
That
spot.
is
I don't know
very
anything like that. Tells
This
every-
all depends
sad
on
thing
you
is-
now.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, I know the answers to that. That it's so weird to try to explain
You're the only
concisely.
one.
The book is that thick.
Oh.
The movie is
We can make a
the movie is famously incomprehensible because they tried to squeeze so much into it. There's a 7-hour version that they made for Italian
Holy
TV.
shit.
But
Where
so
does
what we had the cast of Seinfeld. They
Yeah.
accidentally got diverted, so they would have landed on the capital city of Arrakeen.
Oh, okay.
And just for fun, probably I would have them arrive not during the events of the book or the movie Dune, but before, when the Harkonnens are in charge. So it's Sting in a Speedo and a big
All right.
overweight man flying around jets of steam for fun.
Hey.
Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect. That's where Kramer's from. That just makes
that does
total
make sense now.
I just see Elaine constantly like begging like water. She's like constantly asking for water. No one will
Yeah.
give her water or whatever. George is trying to figure out if he can do the thong, the Speedo thing. He's like, I don't know. Do you think that's not a look I don't think I can do.
Like
We'll do it.
Yeah.
Jerry falls in love with a Fremen girl and they end up worm hunting. It's like, oh, I plant this bumper in the sand. Cut to him on top of a giant sandworm looking terrified.
I would totally watch this episode.
I will too.
But okay, so how do they get back with no explanation at all? Like they would just come back.
They would
somehow.
just hop on another plane and go back.
Yeah, like it's just
Or-
nothing. They just
Would,
Guys.
would you have them sitting at the cafeteria and just like one of them dumps sand all over the boot and that's kind of like the end of the.
Do they ever get to where they were trying to go?
no, absolutely not. Because the next episode is them bitching about how they spent all this money and didn't get to go where they were
Their
going to go.
luggage is lost, and
Yeah.
They can't find a flight back to New York, but there's a third stage guild navigator there who can take them back, but only if Elaine will go out on a date with him.
That
Which
sounds
you'll
great.
need to do a
She
Google
does.
image search of third stage guild navigator to know what a terrible image that is.
oh, okay. He has to figure out whether he's sponge worthy or not.
Very true.
Yes.
Good callback, by the way.
Very nice.
All right, Jen, you got the last official one tonight. So up or down?
Up.
Up. All right. You get the cast from ER.
Ooh, those are ugly. Sorry.
Um,
Noah Wiley was cute back in the day.
they
No, I
are
was Googling what he said.
Oh, the
Oh.
navigator.
Oh.
Ah,
the
yes.
cast of
No,
ER.
It's a talking
Some
scrotum
fine
in an
actors.
orange, like an orange aquarium, basically.
Lovely.
Nice.
The cast of ER on the Death Star. So at least you got a little something there.
There you go, Jack.
E-star.
And they are dealing with vampires.
Vampires.
Oh,
See, robots would have been so much easier on that one.
Yeah.
And go.
yeah.
Vampires get on the Death Star.
Yeah,
Good luck.
With the cast of ER.
Okay.
with the cast of ER. So,
Okay, I'm muting. Well, I'm gonna take my headphones off so like wave at me.
all right, you're good. You're good. I'll wave it. I'll wave you back in. So,
You realize this is her game. Now she's just going to pretend that she never sees you wave.
exactly.
This is how she gets out of taking her turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 or 3 minutes pass. She's already got like this super cool idea thought out. So,
Yeah.
But well, she also doesn't have her headphones on, so we could talk, trash about her. But
No.
It's Jen though.
yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So
That's
it's
it.
not like someone else that has started dating someone and completely it started ignoring us. Oh, which by the way, he grandparents.
He did.
Joseph got to meet the grandparents. Here's the funny thing. Before we went out trick-or-treating, Nicholas is running circles around the living room. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to get tired. No, I'll be all right, Daddy. Sure enough, we get to the back part of the neighborhood. My feet hurt. I got finished telling the story. My feet hurt. Well, Joseph shows up about this time. And Nick's like, can I get a ride? We're like, sure, I guess so. So he gets in Joseph's car. Joseph is one of our other people that's on the show from time to time. Lainey, it's her new boyfriend. He gets in the car with him and he's like, well, I guess I'll just kind of drive slowly next to y'all as y'all walk back. And Nick's like, no, I can tell you where to go. So they drive off down the road and I look at everyone else. I'm like, this is the perfect way for him to meet the grandparents, because he's going to show up in his car with my son in the back seat, who's one of their favorite people, driving him home because his feet hurt. So
that's some massive brownie points.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. So
yeah.
Okay.
Come on back, Jen. Come on back.
Okay.
Hi,
all right.
Jen.
I had to look up the cast, but
Okay.
what I got is, so Dr. Kovac, is that how you said his name?
Mhm.
He was from Croatia, I believe.
Yep.
Okay.
So he recruits a couple of fellow doctors to go to Croatia and maybe a couple neighboring countries to help treat people. But sort of along Chris's story, they somehow end up on the Death Star on the way. And while they're there, they find out, oh, you're doctors. So they try to get them to help treat this strange thing that's been happening to everyone where, they turn into vampires. They start drinking blood and they don't die and blah, 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 blah. But the plot twist is they find out that these were actually created by the Emperor as a secret army to as a backup plan to the rest of the things that, he did, because he didn't have enough stuff going on. Mm-hmm. So he created an army of vampires that were slowly taking over. One of them got loose and so that's what I got so far.
It's somewhere in there. I feel like we have to have George Clooney show up with the Batman suit and the nipples and everything.
Oh yeah, that would be really good.
But with no explanation other than that's his suit.
He just wears that now.
That's what he has to wear.
Or does he?
He brought it to dress up for the kids in the country they were going to, but then all of his other stuff got destroyed. So that's all he has to wear. It's
Halloween. They're in their costumes, and it just kind of all fits.
See, I would have just set them as the doctor crew on the Death Star. Like that's just their job or whatever, and they're constantly dealing with blaster fire, and it's like, what else do we do? It's blaster fire, and then all of a sudden it's like, I don't know how to deal with vampirism. Like this is unless it's a blaster shot, I don't know what to deal with. This is new to me.
I like that.
That's
the thing that occurred to me was really there's not that much of a difference between a Sith Lord and a vampire when you get to the end of it.
I was saying the same thing. Yeah.
The coloration is similar. The wardrobe is similar. It's you could easily see Dracula hanging around with Darth Sidious.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and they're all sleeping with each other and everyone on the ship because that's what they do on those shows.
Well, yeah, of course.
So.
See, if they were the normal, doctor crew on the Death Star, the thing I was going to add in about you were talking about George Clooney, I was going to say, so he's wearing stormtrooper armor, but it has nipples for some reason. And
just anything. His doctors.
And no one says anything. Everyone thinks it's weird, but no one will say anything.
No.
You tell him.
Because he's super sensitive about it.
He's very sensitive.
Sensitive about his nipples.
Which, seriously, why did we need... Anyway, go on. That's a whole other episode. That's a whole other episode.
That is so low down on my list of complaints about that movie, though.
Oh.
What? You didn't like the credit card? Oh,
jeez.
Yeah.
Really, the credit card. Okay, well, we've only got one more setup. I figure we could all tackle this as a group, and this actually is kind of this is a good one. Matlock set on the Enterprise D, specifically D, fighting giant spiders or dealing with giant spiders.
Do they have skeletons?
Sure. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is obviously a holodeck episode. Like, this has to be a holodeck episode.
For the record, this is from the Target store near our house. I don't know if you can see that. They were again selling spider skeletons for Halloween.
Skeletons, yes. I'm gonna have to own one of those sometime, just to own it. So,
I told myself the same thing, but then I'm standing there and I'm like, $10.
$10. Wait till after Halloween.
That's true. That is.
They were all gone after Halloween. Wow. We actually looked. Those and all the candy corn were gone.
Wait, you looked for the candy corn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Candy's good. Corn's good.
I don't have a problem with
the problem.
It tastes weird.
No, it's good.
Nope.
We got really off topic.
Here's the investment idea. Sharks, invest in this. Candy corn on the candy cob. Just a big.
You don't want any teeth, do you?
You can then eat the cob afterwards.
Oh my god.
That's a lot of sugar.
You heard it here first, folks.
And I'm trying to think, is there a way I could 3D print something that you could just stick them
marshmallow? You'd have to do a marshmallow center.
Oh, that wouldn't be bad.
That's not bad. Yeah, just a log of Tootsie Roll, as terrible as that sounds. And then you heat it in the microwave so it's just a little soft. Press the candy corn.
Both of which I can't stand. So
now that's a weird combination. I'm not sure would go
this
over.
is a thing that has to happen now.
Yes, I agree.
Candy corn with a Tootsie Roll. All right.
Eugene's going to go buy a bag of Tootsie Rolls, melt them into one giant Tootsie Roll.
No, you can get the larger ones. You can get the larger ones. Yeah.
The cigar one.
Yeah.
Oh.
When I was a kid, I used to get one of those and pretend I was Orson Welles or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, see, I was a weird kid. I did the same thing. Cigarettes, the candy cigarettes or whatever.
Cigarettes painted red on the end, so it's
yes.
On our when I was a kid, we were driving down to Florida, and there's a picture of me in the back of the van with my grandmother, and we both have one in our mouth, pretending we're smoking. So,
oh my god,
it's all fun.
Nice.
Grandmother's G.
Yeah.
Candy be weird, yo.
Oh, that's a topic.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this one?
I don't.
Let's go over it one more time. Sorry,
Matlock on Enterprise D. Dealing with giant spiders.
Yeah, giant spiders.
So the giant spiders are a more intelligent alien race that are invading the ship, right?
I'm with Eugene that it's probably got to be a hologram. That way, a holodeck episode, because that way you get Matlock actually in there.
Yeah, I'm picturing the very first bit before the opening credits is Geordi for some reason recreationally has a Matlock program. And he goes in and he's like the witness, and I don't know, JMJ Bullock or some other 80s celebrity is the accused murderer. And Matlock's, well, I may be just a country lawyer, but it seems to me JMJ Bullock,
You could do it like all right, Data, so you've solved all of the Sherlock. Let's move on to Matlock.
There you go. There you go.
After the malfunction, then Matlock is just wandering around driving Picard nuts. Well, I may just be a simple country lawyer, but it seems to me you want to realign the warp containment field. Is it? Yes, sir.
Oh my
God. So would Data be like impersonating him maybe and actually taking on that persona to try and be more human?
Brent Spiner could play the hell out of Matlock.
Oh yeah.
Brent Spiner would do a great Matlock.
That would actually be really good. Yeah, I was gonna say I'd actually want to see him on the show, but I think I'd rather see that. I think I'd rather see.
Well, you could do both. You could see him on the show and the interaction between him and Data, and then Data's like, okay, maybe this is what I have to do to be more human, and just impersonate that into.
All I can think about is that Moriarty episode.
Yeah.
We've been thinking about the spiders all wrong, I think, is because we're picturing the spiders coming in and attacking like spiders, but these are aliens. So they might just be they might be like Vogons. They might just be a very bureaucratic, legalistic society. So, oh no, giant spiders are invading, and the spiders come in and serve Picard with a subpoena.
Yes. Yes.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard, you have been served. You must report to our city hall. So they download Earth's greatest legal mind in history, Matlock.
There you go. There you go. Now we got the hook.
They replicate him a white suit and they send him in.
Yep. I'm all about this.
The Spider Vogons. That's got to be a T-shirt.
That's going to be a T-shirt. Write that down.
At some point, I want Q to just pop in and go, "This is some weird shit," and just
like he can't even handle it. Like it's too much.
Yeah, he's just like, "This is too much."
Go. Yeah.
No, Jean-Luc, I'm just here to watch.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this for an eon. I
literally have nothing to do with this. Promise.
Yeah. This is the greatest moment in human evolution. All of human history has led to this moment, Jean-Luc.
And I have to watch. Hi, Kitty. Nice. Q. Yep,
that works.
I wish I could say her name is Spot, but it isn't.
Aww.
It isn't. But yeah.
No. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for our main show, ladies and gentlemen. I guess let's go ahead and move on to our picks and pans for the week. Would anyone like to go first?
Sure.
All right, Ray, what you got for us?
Picks. It's been a little while. But listen, the last time that I was talking about anything on the show was the celebrity classic that I got to play with some NHLers. I was trying to raise money for Easter seals.
Yes.
And so we did raise quite a bit of money, which was awesome. Enough that I was actually able to play on the ice with some of the NHLers. It was a great time. We raised a bunch of money for Easter seals, which was great, but we also had a really good time. I got to hang out with a guy named Scott Walker. He used to play with Vancouver, and then he also played with Atlanta. And
whole show, nothing. Now she's pacing back and forth like he's impatient.
It's time
I'm
to
sorry.
pay attention.
Cats.
Cats are awesome.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it was a really good time. Got to meet Doug Gilmore, and he was awesome. And just you forget about how, like, okay, these guys have been retired for a while, and when they're on the ice with us, they're maybe playing at 20%.
And they're still really good.
And they're still good. And then all of a sudden, you can see the twinkle in their eye, and they're like, I'm down by a couple of goals. It's time to turn this thing on. And all of a sudden, everything comes clicking in, and they're flying. And
so much better than you guys.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's like me playing against a 5-year-old. It's not fair.
Yeah.
But such a good time, such a good organization, and so that's my pick for this one. So
good deal. Chris, you got a pick or pan for us?
I have a pick. I went to go see Bohemian Rhapsody with my sister last.
Was it good?
Oh my god, it was really, really good. I've
heard it's so good.
Through most of the movie, I was tapping my foot. My sister and I were busting a gut. It was really good. Mike Myers is in it, but it was just really good. And it's rated PG-13. And there was an article that was written about the movie, telling people, like, listen, Freddie Mercury lived an R-rated life, an NC-17 really. So it's a tamed down version of what being in Queen was like. But it was really good. And Brian May and one of the other gentlemen from Queen were executive producers, and all the actors they cast as the members of Queen did a really great. They were awesome. The kid from Jurassic Park is in it. See if you can find him.
Mr. Robot's in it, right?
Yeah, he plays.
He is Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, Rami Malek. But it was really good. I'm a huge fan of Queen. My sister, not so much, but it was really good. And they, at the end during the credits, they had some B-roll of Freddie Mercury singing different songs and stuff like that. And and just about when he died and what he died of and things like that. But it was so good. And it's over 2 hours and you didn't feel like it at all. But I really, really liked it. And
good deal.
Yeah, so go see it.
Okay. Well, yeah, Christy's wants to go see it. So
yeah, it's awesome. Really worth the money.
Very cool. Jennifer, pick your pan.
Yeah, so I've been traveling a lot for work the last couple weeks, and the first trip was to DC, which was fun and interesting. The second trip was Huntsville, Alabama, which I discovered is a really great city, and had a lot of fun there. Discovered a lot of cool things I didn't know they had, so I really had fun there. And also my second one is I got to see Ed Sheeran in concert, and he was amazing and funny and adorable and all the things. So that was last weekend. So yeah,
good deal.
Super good time.
Scott, do you have a pick or pan for us?
I don't know if it's available in Canada. I would bet it probably is somehow. But there's a sitcom on NBC here in the United States called The Good Place.
Oh, yes.
Oh, love it.
We love it.
I've heard nothing but good about this show. I haven't watched it yet.
It is amazing. I can't really, beyond the initial premise, I don't want to tell you anything. Because it's the kind of show that you can get spoiled for you.
Oh, yeah.
But it is spectacularly funny.
Yeah.
The general premise of it is... and suddenly I'm blanking on the name of the star.
Kristen Bell?
Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell plays a woman who is not a good person, who dies and finds that she has gone to the good place as opposed to the bad place. But she realizes very quickly that it's a clerical error of some kind. She's not supposed to be there. And she has to figure out how to continue flying under the radar and not get kicked out to the bad place. And that is where it starts.
That's funny.
And not only is it a tremendously funny sitcom with a great cast and fantastic writing, but it's got more and better twists and turns than Lost had.
But they make sense.
Yes, they do.
Exactly. And not the most recent episode, though that one was good, but the one before it was entitled The Ballad of Donkey Doug. And it might be the funniest half hour of television I've ever seen. Have you not seen The Ballad of Donkey Doug
We
yet?
haven't watched that one yet.
We're a little bit behind.
We're like an episode or two behind.
Yeah.
Is this a brand new show or a couple
It is actually in its third season. If you're in the United States, I believe the first 2 seasons are available on Netflix, though.
In Canada as well.
In Canada as well.
Okay.
And it's well worth it. Even if the first episode doesn't grab you, give it at least 3 episodes. Would you not agree with that?
I would say if you're not into it by the 4th or 5th episode, there's something wrong with you, because it's.
I've heard nothing but good about it.
And Ted Danson's in it, and that kind of he's really, him and Kristen Bell play really well off each other.
Yes.
But everyone who's in it. Turns out to be great.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's so many things that I want to say, but it would spoil everything.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
I've got
watch it now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely start watching it. So, like I said, it's been I've heard nothing but good about it, and it's one of those things. I'm like, I need to put this on my list. So, I've got 3 quick things. Number 1, I finished watching the 2nd season of Castlevania on Netflix. They announced a 3rd season. Oh, it's so good. It is drawn kind of like an anime, but it is not an anime. So like they don't talk over each other. There's actual like points where they're actually just listening to each other. It's got a really interesting story. I loved it. I can't wait to see what they do with it. My second pick is last weekend, Lainey and I were at the Beltonian. It's this little hole in the wall movie theater. They were showing Ghostbusters. We were dressed up, and they closed down the street from 3 to 5 to do trick or treating. And we got to go walk out front, and we took so many pictures with kids and adults. It was a ton of fun. And then,
sorry, I'm just curious. Who was with you?
Lainey.
Who's that?
I know. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's this chick. She used to be.
I saw her last night, and I was like, "Do I know you? Have we met?"
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Hopefully she listens to this one. And then the last thing was got to go trick or treating with the boys. They were dressed as clone troopers and had made the comment. Nick had tapped Alex on the shoulder and said, "The general wants you." And he turned around, looked at at mommy, and he said, "No, daddy." And I was like, all right, I have to be a Jedi. I've been wanting to pull the trigger on this costume for years. So I finally did it. And I got to walk around with a lightsaber, and they were walking around as clone troopers. And Lainey dressed up as Senator Amidala, and we had a blast walking around the neighborhood. And it was a ton of fun. I always enjoy dressing up and going trick-or-treating with boys. So.
And all your dreams came true because they were these Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
Proud father moment.
But did the clone troopers invoke Order 66 at some point?
Not yet. Not yet.
It just would have been funny if someone had said Order 66 and they start,
they haven't gotten to that point yet. And honestly, we still haven't watched. We've watched episode 1. We haven't watched episode 2, which now that we're pretty far through Clone Wars, I'm like, we need to go back and watch that one. It's going to be a while before we watch episode 3 because I don't know if I really want them to.
Don't break their hearts yet.
Not yet. No.
I mean, they already know Anakin turns to Vader. They already know that happens. What's going to break their hearts, and my understanding is some of the clone troopers don't turn. They don't follow Order 66. But I think the one that Alex is being is one of the ones that did. I think he's specific. I think Cody is the one that literally holds the thing, sees Order 66, turns it off, and then turns around and fires. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that to them.
Let them be young and innocent for a little longer.
Yeah. So.
Or Star Wars breaks their heart.
All right. Well, that is our show for the week, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Music, wherever it is you listen or watch the show. We do record the show live on YouTube when it's working every other Saturday night. We do have a new episode of the Marginally Geeky Show coming up here next week, where we're talking about astrophysics for people on the run.
Oh.
Yeah. It was a good book. It was a lot, but yeah, it's a heavy book.
I'm looking forward to talking about this one.
Oh, I bet you are. We do have our other show, the Sustainably Geeky. It's coming. I will be working on it this week. It should be up. So more information on that. You can find us at epicallygeeky.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Epically Geeky. Where can we find you online, Ray?
You can find me on Instagram, Lake Life Artist. That's probably the best way to find me. I haven't posted anything in a little while, but that's okay. I swear I will get the posts of the skateboards I painted up, and we'll get some stuff going.
Good deal. Chris, where can we find you online?
Here and Marginally Geeky, and soon to be Sustainably Geeky, and on Instagram at Cedar Birch Cottage.
Jennifer, where can we find you online?
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Het's Gonna Be Me, and Epically Geeky, Marginally Geeky, and Sustainably Geeky, the podcast for the everyday environmentalist.
There you go. Mr. Scott Meyer, where can we find you online?
My old webcomic, Basic Instructions, reruns at Basic Instructions. Then I put behind it a picture that was just a snapshot that I took on a vacation to Alaska once. Then there's an outfit. I can't remember the name of it right now. There are a couple outfits that you can pay a skilled artist in China to make an oil painting of any photograph you send them.
Oh, cool.
So I just, some person in China got paid to make a painting out of this ridiculous, pastiche I photoshopped together. And now it's my author photo.
That's awesome.
That's really
cool. You may have to send me that link. That sounds so awesome.
I will.
I'm trying to think,
remember the URL because I'm very happy with the service.
We could get all of our cast photos done like that.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
That's fun.
Great.
I'm trying to decide would I ghost. I had to be a Ghostbuster. Anyway,
you can follow lightning.
Yeah, I know, right? You can follow my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.